Guys, Richard from SharpshootingUK here. Detailed review here on the I.O.R 5.8-40. So what I'm going to do, because it's real long-winded, is do on all my reviews a 2-minute breakdown straight out the gate. So when you start the video, you know the bottom line. Okay? 2 minutes on the I.O.R 5.8-40x56. Go. I think it might be the best scope in the world. I was comparing it the other day to a 5.8-40x S&B PM2. It's sharper at the bottom, the PM2 tunnels to 7.5. This is tack sharp at 5.8, no tunneling, spot on, it goes all the way. It doesn't go to 25, it doesn't go to 35, it goes to 40. It's got kick-ass turrets. It will dial all day without missing so much as a click. This front focus is really nice, and I think it adds to the sharpness. The I.O.R is sorted, it's got the latest generation glass, it's got a load of military-based sort of strength and repeatability. It is unparalleled. Who else do high mag range? Okay, you've got March, you've got the new Zeiss V8. Add them to your list. I won't comment on them, I haven't seen them, but if you can find a better first focal plane tactical scope than this, I'd be interested to know. And that's on the whole of the planet. I think this is one of the best scopes on God's earth. So add it to your list at the very least. 5.8-40 FFP, killer ret, absolutely beautiful ret. Yes, there's not a lot of choices of rets, and that's something that Knife Force can do for you. Put all sorts of rets in, and that is very cool. But if you compare this to Attacker, Beast, PM2, you're going to buy the I.O.R, I'll tell you. I've done this, I've compared them side by side, shot them side by side, and this I.O.R is incredible. It's out of the category of being a bargain, £1,000 bargain like some of the other scopes I've talked about. This is into, big money. It's still good value compared to the £3,000 scopes, but it is, well, £4,000 sometimes. It is, it is a lot of money, and it's got to be slick, it's got to be polished, and with the exception of the box, which looks completely Chinese, the optics, especially impressed by the fact that it's perfect at the bottom and it's very, very solid at the top. And obviously you can't use 40 all the time. You need good light, you need to be nice and steady, but it does work, and it's not cheating at the bottom like the Attacker and the PM2 do. I mean, you get a 5, all you're seeing is tube, and you get to 7.5 before the field of view increases. It's crazy. So here I am, a massive fan of the I.O.R. Bought it having compared it to the Knife Force side by side. It's lasted well, I completely trust it. Optically been outstanding in all the different lights and conditions that I've encountered. The only thing that I've ever tried that I thought was perhaps better was I tried the S&B PM2 12-50, was it 12-52? I think it's 12-50, and that was kind of as good but with a bit more field of view, and I thought that was a really good scope, but nothing else I've used has made me want to swap. Bear in mind there's a lot of good 6-24s, but once you get to 8-32 and above, things get very limited. The only thing that really caught my interest was what I.O.R were doing with their new 40mm scopes. This fascinating 5.8-40 and the ultra high mag 12-52 40mm. So these are real good scopes, and having been such a fan of this 9-36 and having used it for so long, I wondered, how have these guys been moving forward? I saw that they'd done the front focus, I saw that they'd added zero stop, I saw that they'd changed the illuminated ret, and they were tweaking the reticles for different applications, and I was thinking, this is really, must be some scope that they've got now. Now there's two sides to this. One is the ergonomics and the illuminated red, all of which has been upgraded, like the 6-24. Got red here for left wind. You've got zero stop, dual zero, all very slightly tweaked to just help you. It's more up to date, nice touches. It came off on the old ones, this rubber ring. On this it's all slimlined, easier to get adapters on here. Nice grip. So they've tweaked lots of little things. I've got a detailed explanation of the zero stop and how these turrets work in a separate video. Oh, and of course, let's not forget, on this latest generation I.O.R, this tube mounted focus. That's really clever, that. So I was intrigued to see if this manufacturer had moved forward since this 9-36. Well, having used this now side by side, it's straightforward. Bottom line, guys, is there has not been an optical jump. There have been two, and this is wow optically. At any magnification, it has more pop, more punch, more brightness, more resolution, more everything, apart from field of view, which is about the same, than the previous generation, this 9-36 that I've loved so much. What a piece of kit optically. I can't believe how much they've moved forward. You've got the same tube, the same turrets, the same front focus. The difference with this bad boy is that it is first focal plane. Very sorted ret for that use. It doesn't tunnel at 5.8. It really does do 5.8. 40 is unfussy and clear. Very, very good optics. It's clearly the same glass as this big 40 here. These are truly remarkable optically. At any mag, compared to the 9-36, which compared favourably to the Night Forces, etc., etc., the resolution and the edge-to-edge and the contrast and that kind of shot, kind of Zeissy pop is better. Clearly, as you zoom in, you need more light. If you take the best 80mm Swarovski spotting scope on the planet on a grey day full of rain, say, or mist, you whack it up to 60 times, you're not going to be able to see anything. All you're doing is magnifying 60 times all of the rain and all of the mist. If you use it on a day full of mirage, no dice. You've got to use high mag, really high mag, 30 plus I'd say, you've got to have flat, clean air and light. You have to know what you're doing to use a scope of that type, to be honest. If you think that you can just zoom up to 50 and all your problems are over, then you're going to be disappointed, because you're magnifying the imperfections in the air. And there aren't many days where the light is so flat and clean that you can actually use the mag. But on those days, you zoom this thing in and it's really impressive. I've been doing some more today with the 5.8-40 I.O.R, specifically trying to work out how far you can get out with this first focal plane red. The dot is tiny, but obviously the with it being first focal plane, the dot magnifies, so it gets larger at high mag at long range. But the bottom line here is that this is fine for very distant varminting. I've been looking at 550 yards starlings and they're no problem, so I don't think you need to worry about the size of the dot. People are first going to say, does it dial perfectly? And there was a brilliant test recently done by Precision Rifle blog, mega scientific. And this generation of IOR, the 40mm with the tube parallax, dialed 40 mils. That's, 130 minutes. And it wasn't a single click out. It actually was perfect in this test. There were a couple of others that did it. Even the Night Force were a couple of clicks out. So with regard to your tactical quality, your dialing, that was a very detailed test, and the I.O.R really aced it. Did well on the field of view. These are, right up there with the top scopes in the world. I'll also say that the illumination on the 5.8-40 is really well done. It's quite difficult to do on an FFP scope, and the Illuminated Center Dot is absolutely spot on. There is a school of thought that if you're going to use FFP, you want to see your RET because you're going to be ranging with it, and therefore the whole RET should be illuminated. I can see the sense in that, to be honest, but the modern trend kind of across the whole industry is just to light the dot at the moment, and that is what this I.O.R has, just the lit center dot. So against a dark background, at last light, you don't lose that RET. You can pick it out. With regard to the RET, it's a tuned version of the classic I.O.R RET. They call it the extreme RET now, but essentially it's that floating dot with the minute brackets around it. It's just perfect for everything. By far my favourite RET ever. Much copied. It is classy. The illumination on the 5.8-40, which, as I say, is very well sorted, isn't the normal digital button system that the other I.O.Rs use. It is where the side focus would normally be. Battery compartment here. 1, 2, 3, and very coolly it goes around to 11 and then off, and there aren't offs in between, which is a nice feature. I do like it when it's 1 off, 2 off, 3, because it means that you've got a long way to go. If you're on 5 and you want to turn it off, you've got a long way to go, but it's not the end of the world. So that's how that works, and it just lights the center dot, and it doesn't flare out excessively or anything like that. It's well done. Very close focus on the on this new tube focus, which will please the air rifle boys. I've done some comparisons before with the same scope, one front parallax and one side parallax, side focus, and the front focus has always been noticeably sharper. There's a little lens for the parallax that is, with the side focus version, is right in the middle here, where things are quite congested and quite narrow. There's a lot going on, and I do wonder whether the ridiculous sharpness and resolution that these 40mm I.O.Rs can produce is due to them taking the focus out of that center saddle. It's just a guess, but be that as it may, this, which I find very easy, does seem to give a very distinct optical advantage, and I thoroughly recommend it. Mounts wise, in 40mm, Optics Warehouse have got various options for you. This is a 40mm one piece, which is really smart. Nicely finished, good quality. It's a little bit higher than the two-piece rings, which look like this. I think people are used to these now. Really solid. These are the 35mm, but they look the same. And there's also a 6-bolt version that's obviously half as wide again, uber burly. And reasonable prices for tactical mounts. So Optics Warehouse got you covered there. I like the look of it a lot. I like the new eyepiece. There's various ergonomic improvements that have come in on these later models, and this is starting to look like a very slick product. You know, I could flat out choose this over the latest Night Force, the latest PM2, and no compromises are being made at all. When you're getting an unbelievable bargain, like, you know, a Victory quality scope for £1,000, you'd forgive it a failing. But I really can't find any in these latest 40mm IORs. Nothing at all. Not a single thing. Dead smart. Opens up. All here. Beautiful manual. You see, this just helps give a feeling of quality. And the military kit does not care about this. And the brands that are slow to cross over their marketing, as it were, from ultra functionality and toughness and reliability, which is indeed what we value over everything else, to the commercial sphere where you've got to really sell yourself as a premium product. The companies that are slow with that suffer. I mean, it's unpretentious in that you're saving money, aren't you? You're not paying for fancy boxes and laminated warranty cards and such like, but you know, the quality needs to be there. And the thing with the IORs, which come in a basic cardboard box with a very Chinese looking explanation on, don't get me wrong, they're all secure in here, good bikini covers, but the manual is, one, it doesn't make any sense, and it's just, I think it's photocopied. So, you know, it puts you off only when you know how amazing the quality and construction and build and general solidness of these things is. Do you forgive them and go, well, frankly, I don't care a jot about the box. The key is the quality of the scope. So, you know, this is a in the know scope. You need to know what you're doing. You need to not be led by the nose to IOR. You need to come to them realizing what the priorities in buying a scope really are. That's optics, reliability, and you know, groundbreaking functions. You know, I'd much rather have a bigger mag range, or really progressive stuff like this fantastic tube mounted focus than a fancy box. Okay, so don't be put off, guys, by the basic literature and marketing of these IORs. The quality of the scopes is bulletproof. Indeed, if we look at my trusty 9-36 here that I've had for ages, since they first came out in the UK, and you know, I took a chance on one of these things because I went to compare it with an NXS, as a Night Force, which is, you know, the 832 NXS is pretty much, or was, the definitive long-range scope, and I compared them side by side at length and bought the IOR, without a second thought. Now, you know, this scope I have tested from, God, in every extreme. I mean, shooting in the snow, fairly decently recoiling rifle. My 284 is, you know, it's not a 50 cal, but it, you know, it's not a rimfire either. I have dialed so much, wow, because what we do is we might shoot a 800-yard rabbit with, say, 6 or 7 minutes of wind on, and then we might come back to 300. So instead of sitting at, say, 1,000 yards, having dialed in and then never moving, this scope, this 9-36 that I've been using for, I don't know, 5 years maybe, that has cranked up and down, left and right, up and down, left and right, 1,000 times. And I really do trust it, I must say. So the key fundamentals are there in these things. So they're really very good, and optically I'm quite stunned. They're a lot better than I thought, and that's coming from the old one, which is better than the Night Force, and, you know, compared to all sorts of alpha scopes, these really pop. Now if you look at the night force, you've got 5-25, don't you? This is 5.8 to 40. So the mag range, the amount you're getting for your money, is off the chart. Just have a little think about that. 6 to 24 is what you're normally talking about. You buy a Zeiss Victory or S&B's 5 to 25, okay? The night force 5 to 25. You paid your £2,500–3,000. That's what you've got. This doesn't do, let's call it 6, doesn't do 6 to 24. It doesn't do 6 to 30. It does 6 to 40. And it doesn't tunnel at the bottom either. You're really getting those figures. So just with regard to how much scope you get for your money with regard to your magnification range, it is outstanding. And I also must say that these 40mm tubes, I think it's actually more to do with the front tube focus removing a lens than it is just the size of the tube. But the optical transmission is quite remarkable for a big scope. It's stunning. I'm not going to say to you it's X and Y better than X and Y, but it is absolutely worth looking at in this market. If you're going for a long-range FFP tactical scope, you have to look at these latest generation IORs.